graph is the U.S. debt-GDP ratio on a quarterly basis since 1966. Note that this calculation uses total public debt, both debt held by the public and intergovernmental holdings, and nominal. The type of inflation that is associated with wars customarily arises from increases in aggregate demand. In time of war, regime spending for military purposes stimulates demand throughout an economy, at the same time that a shift of workers from productive labor into war engenderment causes a decline in aggregate supply. Banks, shops and factories were shut down, which led to the lowest business activity in the modern history of the U.S. Not only did the Depression have a profound negative effect on the stock market, it also caused high unemployment. The attempts of the government in the 1930s to recover the economy from the Depression did not succeed. The milestone in bringing the U.S. economy back on track was the largest world conflict of the 20th century from World War II. President signed the first Neutrality Act in 1935. The Nazis enacted the Nuremberg Laws that deprived Jews of their German citizenship and proscribed. By the mid-1930s, the preoccupation of the Roosevelt administration with the despondence and endeavors to instigate economic health commenced to compete with concerns over the deteriorating situation in Europe and Asia. Only weeks after the intersexual cognitions between Jews and those of German blood, the suburban landscape that advanced around American cities after World War II are among the most symbolic, memorable resources of the 20th century. The basic cause of modern war is the international rivalries inseparable from capitalism and the capitalist class's domination of the world's resources. World War II was no exception. At the cessation of World War II, astronomically immense swaths of Europe and Asia had been reduced to ruins. Borders were redrawn and homecomings, expulsions, and burials were underway, but the massive efforts to reconstitute had just commenced. When the war commenced in the tardy 1930s, the world's population was approximately 2 billion. In less than a decade, the war between the Axis, the Allied powers, had resulted in 80 million deaths, killing off about 4% of the whole world. Allied forces now became occupiers, taking control of Germany, Japan, and much of the territory they had formerly ruled.